Hello. We have seen about X509 certificate, which are digital certificates. Along with those, we need to find out some certificate revocation list. So those CRL are very important say aspects what we need to find it out whenever we have to have certain studies for digital certificates. We have seen already about the format for the digital certificate, which is of course given by X509 as one of the standards. That it is using some of the algorithm, it is having some issuer name, it is having some subject name, and it is having some versions. So there are total 3 versions for the certificate, and version to version the particular field go on changing. But along with that particular certificate, there is another list, and that list is compulsorily should get maintained at certain server side, because whenever any certificate is compromised, or rather if any key related to the certificate is compromised, or if any say expiry of the certificate is there, then definitely such type of the issues should get solved by say updation of the certificate itself, and such requests are say sent to the server, and such requests are entertained, and some solutions, some say responses we may expect from the server for the query or the request what is sent for the updation of the certificate itself. So we are right now concentrating for the revocation of the certificate and the problems assigned with those revocations of the certificate. What are the possible problems with those certificates? So whenever we go for such type of the questions in our mind, basically there are number of questions for the users, that how do I go for obtaining my digital certificate. There are questions, or rather these can be considered as if these are the open-ended questions, and you can have certain say checks or the queries with the browser, or you can get the help of such questions, because I found that number of discussions are there, that how do I view certificate revocation list, is there any possibility, because there is one method that okay, with certain internet options, with the advanced sub option, you can go for the certificate revocation for the server itself, and it will give you some of the information. But most of the time, even though this is only one method, there are another methods also in what way you can find out the certificate which is revoked. But there are few questions, that is, what is the most efficient certificate revocation method in terms of the speed, in terms of the traffic, or do I update the certificate revocation list? Is it possible for me to have updation, or whether these are only read only list? What is the check for the server certificate revocation? Can I check for this? So many questions are there. Such questions can be checked out with say googling with the information. But I would like to go for some theoretical aspects and the problems arising with those aspects. Whenever I talked about the certificate revocation, it is used within public key infrastructure, that is within the premises of that infrastructure, to instruct the client who is availing the benefits, okay, that the certificate can no longer be trusted. So that information can be given by certificate revocation, or the certificate revocation list contains such type of the say informations along with the notifications, and such validations for the authentications can be carried out, and of course that can be carried out by certification authority. So how many validations are there? There are 3 validations can be considered. Of course these are given with the numbered bullets, so these are sequential validations. The first one, which is very basic, usually this can be used, which is domain validation. That domain validation can be carried out by certification authority, and generally that validation is carried out through emails. The intimation is given through email itself. So it is actually can be considered that it is having very less expensive as compared to the other ones. The second one is the organization validation, where this validation can be carried out for the organization of the company, and that company's name is checked against the register. So that register is always maintained at the Chamber of Commerce, and the cross verification is there, and once the validation is carried out, then it is accepted for further communication. That organization validation can be extended further with the extended validation, which says that it actually checks the physical location of the organization. It is not only the checking and the comparison through the register, but it's a physical check can be carried out. So such type of the validations or these responsibilities of the validations are there by certification authority CA. Now, whenever CRLs are there, CRL contains a list of certificate serial numbers, and those serial numbers are to be checked within the list. Actually, those serial numbers are given by CA itself. The client go on searching its or his or her individual serial number within the list. There are number of serial numbers, thousands of serial numbers, and maybe a single serial number having a big size. So there is always a manual check, there is always a sequential check over the list, and of course that sequential check, manual check is somewhat tedious one. That is not optimum solution, and such type of the search of the CRL by client distribution point is embedded within the certificate, so that some or other way such type of the searches can be made somewhat simpler. For example, the distribution point is given, and if the click is made at that particular distribution point, then possibly the link can be say established, and with this particular link the certificate can be checked. So these are the some of the points. With those points, some of the relevant issues definitely arise. So what issues are there? Whenever CRLs are there, CRL does not operate on real times. So offline operation is also possible. So speed of CRL update may mismatch. Always it is not in a synchronous form. So obviously the updation at the CRL is mismatched. That is, the speed is mismatched with the entries and whatever are the say requests from the clients to check for the CRLs. Each CA is responsible for updating the maintained own CRL. So own CRL should be displayed by CA itself. However, non-reachability to CA can cause non-availability or problem with the integrity. So such type of the issues related to availability and integrity may arise because of having certain connections by clients to the CA. Revocations are done by overwriting the previous file. This is very dangerous, and that's why unavailability of the historical data is the major concern. If any forensic analysis is to be carried out, then at that time, if any evidence is required, that evidence may not be possible. Such provision is not available because that updation is carried out by just overwriting of the data itself. The issues can be carried out further, that is, client has to search through the revocation list. As I said that the list may have the number of serial numbers, and every serial number may have a very big size, so it may create a large amount of overhead. CRL update cycle, okay, as it's unsynchronous or offline, the update cycle may carry out. So normally the update cycle is of 5 to 14 days, and it may leave the attack surface open, that is the possible loopholes are there until the next CRL updates. So such issues may arise. I'll just go for one of the case study in what way such time lag may create certain problems for the operations also. CRL is not checked for the OV or DV. Of course, EV also. There is the extended validation is also not possible based on the certificates. If client is unable to download the CRL, then definitely the client has to trust over the certificate. Whichever is the default certificate is given, blindly the client has to have the faith over the certificate itself, and that is actually against the rights of the client itself. So whenever the online certificates are there, I may say that certification revocation list is one option, and there is another option to check the certificate, or rather to issue certificate, and which is rather considered as the one of the further step, which is known as the OCSP protocol, online certificate status protocol. In a sense, you can say Whether this online certificate status protocol provides solution, the entire solution, we need to check. So OCSP allows the client to check the status of the certification revocation list in a way that there are certain steps for the process. Again, those steps are sequential steps. The client receives the certificate, client sends some request, and the responder of course is your CA, can issue the serial number. Of course, it can be carried out through secure HTTP. OCSP responder replies with a certificate status of either whether the certificate is good or certificate is revoked or certificate is unknown. For example, if this is one of the say situation I have given, that this is the certification serial number and it is said or the response received by say certification authority that it's a good one, it is say there is no problem to work for this one. In such a way, such status you may observe with different serial numbers. Okay, so whenever the OCSPs are there, can I treat that OCSPs are providing the ultimate solution? No, all the time these OCSPs are getting updated. So far, nowadays also some further patches are there which are giving say superior OCSPs which are just trying to overcome what difficulties earlier OCSPs are facing. So one of the advantage of the OCSP I would like to mention that the client can query the status of a single certificate. This is always a single certificate rather than having downloading and parsing the entire one. And obviously it will make the overhead which is the overhead is minimized on the client side, and of course the network requirement is minimized. However, OCSP requests are sent for each certificate. So if it is for the each certificate and as there are number of certificates, there can be a huge overhead on the OCSP responder. Who is the OCSP responder? Again, the person or the say entity is CA, that is the certification authority. And for high traffic websites, obviously it happen. So such type of the drawbacks are always there. OCSP is not reliable if client's key is compromised. By some means, if client is not carrying further the key or client is no longer with the organization, then the client's key is compromised and such situation may not be considered with the OCSP. OCSP is not enforced for the any of the validation what we have seen earlier. So whenever I said that there is certain time lag for the say request and the change what can be carried out in the certificate revocation list, I have prepared one case study. Of course, whatever is the data I am referring so far, I have taken support from the material which is available over the internet, and such material has given me some idea, some thought process over which I can just give you some say convinced material, and I want to share such material with you people. Let there is a situation, that situation infinitely it can grow from the left side to the right side. I have taken 4 time instances for certain operations. For such operations I may consider that okay, there are certain evidences. Let this is the situation, some time is there where a certificate start date is there, that is certificate is made valid. So whenever the start date is given, let some end date is also there, expiry date is there. Let 1st January of some year is the start date and the 31st December is the end date for such situation. So in a sense, we can say that the start date and the end date if are there is one occasion where the signer's key is compromised. So for example, I can say that the person, the element, the entity who is carrying out the authority of usage of certification, possibly the person is no longer working with the organization or may have left the particular organization. So at that time the signer's key is compromised. Let this is the time. Now if there is another time or the another situation that the certification revocation information is received and after that the revocation is carried out. By this time there are few instances. Let me just check out the few of the cases. So this case is going for the few sub cases. For those few sub cases I want to answer some of the questions based on the situation. That is the question, that is the say tutorial what right now we want to discuss. Say this is first situation, that the signature generation time is taken as the T1, which is in between, that is whenever the certification is made valid, after that the generation time is taken as the T1, and let the verification time is T3, where the verification time is taken at that particular point. So whenever the verification is carried out, before that the person has left the particular company. But still, I just want to check. I want to answer two questions here. Rather, I want to ask you people to answer for those questions. Does verifier accept the signature, that is in a practical sense? And should verifier accept the signature, that is in a logical way? So logical scenario and a practical scenario we have to discuss. The scenario says that already some of the answers are given, that for such situation, that should verifier accept the signature, the answer is yes, because this signature is generated at the time of T1, where the start date is valid, and of course the person has left after this signature generation. After this signature generation, that's why this particular signature is valid, and that should be accepted, that should be verified. Okay, so at the same time, in a logical sense and also in a practical sense, both answers are same, and it is very clear situation. But if I go for the second situation, that if the signature generation time is T1 and signature verification time is T4, what will happen at that time? Because at that time the revocation list must have get updated. So what will be the answer here? Think for a while, that should I go for the yes or no listing here? So whenever we discuss for such situation should go for some of the help. I can say that T1 is the signature generation time, where T4 is the signature verification time. In a sense, that should verifier accept the signature? In a logical sense, the verifier should accept the signature, because it is created before the compromising of the key. But in a practical sense, that signature is not verified, because this signature verification time is after updation of the revocation list. And actually there is a confusion, there is a mismatch. That mismatch may create certain problem. Before going to the third case, definitely the fourth case I would like to discuss, because the fourth case is dependent on the discussion of the first and the second case. So obviously, if the T2 is the signature generation time, T4 is the signature verification time. So in that case, definitely both the answers should go for no and no, because T2 is generated, the time where the signature is generated after compromising the particular key, and it is of course checked after change of the revocation list. So it is the proper period, it is the correct time when the revocation list can be say checked or addressed. So that answer is correct, there is no conflict. For the first case and for the third case, the conflict is not there. Now check for the third case. For the third case, what will happen? That if T2, which is the signature generation time, and T3, which is the signature verification time, which is prior to the updation of revocation list. So in that sense, I can say that the answer is that as there is a change, that is the signature is generated after the compromising of the key, that means in a logical way the signature should not be accepted. But as the verification is not, or rather the revocation is not updated so far, at the T3 time, as the verification is carried out, that verification gives you the answer that okay, in a practical way the signature is accepted. So you can say that the case 2 and case 3, because these two cases are giving some mismatch for the answers, and such type of the problem, such type of the loopholes are always happen, and we people are responsible to just tune our programming to make our network, or to have certain say provision, so that such type of the lags should not create any problem. Such type of the gaps should not make the vulnerabilities open for the attacker to take the misadvantage of situation. Okay. Moving further for the next topic for the discussion, we have gone for some of the idea for the cross certification. For the cross certification, that means if the multiple CAs, multiple trust routes are there, and for which if the leaf nodes who are actually the clients who are enjoying the certificates from the received from the trusted routes, so if the person, if the client from one tree demands for the certificate from the another subtree, then in what way the situation should be handled out, in what way that particular certificate, that particular path, that particular message should be sent over. So of course there should be some say recognition at the self tree, and with those self tree the climbing of, or rather the connection of the second tree should be via the connection of the first tree. So every possible trusted root should be informed about the say having the exchanges, or rather getting the facilities from one section or one perimeter or from one tree to the other tree. So we can say that there are certain say simple scenarios, or rather there are certain complex scenarios for the cross certificates. Of course, these are carrying out the multiple routes. So two of the scenarios I would like to discuss here. Slightly confusing, but some theoretical aspects are there which we can have some say references for such theoretical aspects here. Say the situation is that there is some cross certification at the root CA level between two public key infrastructures. Let the first public key infrastructure and second public key infrastructures are there, and these boundaries are the logical boundaries for those infrastructures. Let the certification authority 1 is there and certification authority 2 is there, and user 1 and user 2s are there. User 1 and user 2 are from different PKI, and now we want to check how the situation is handled for the cross certification. Say user certificates existing in PKI 2, like the user 2, are trusted by PKI 1, that is the CA1. So user 2 should get trusted by CA1. CA1 generates a certificate. Let the certificate is having some say number. I'll just call this number as the certificate having the reference as the 2.1, containing the public key of CA2. So that public key of CA2 is shared to this PKI, and using the public key of CA2 the further certificate can be generated. Now both certificate 2 and certificate 2.1. So where exactly the certificate 2 is there? The certificate 2 and certificate 2.1, actually these are given with the green color. This is the green color, and have the same subject and the public key. So subject is the concern. We have seen that subject, this is who is issuing the certificate. The issuing authority, the issuing company is called as the subject, and the public keys are also already shared for the another PKI. So there are two valid chains for the certificate 2.2. that certificate 2.2 is belonging to user 2. So certificate 2.2 which is leading to certificate 2 with this particular route, and certificate 2.2 is leading, maybe taking some another route, that is certificate 2.1, and then it is going for the certificate 1. So from the second PKI it may have a connection to the first PKI. That is the analogy, and this is legitimate, this is approved one, because all possible exchanges are carried out. In a similar way, there is a certification authority 2 can generate the certificate 1.1, okay, which may be for the user 1. So such type of the certificates may get created by having the exchanges and by having the keys, that is the public keys of the another certification authority into the first public key infrastructure, and having such type of the say operations. This can contain the public key of the CA1, so that the user certificates exist in PKI1, like user 1 can get trusted by the PKI2. So these are the common discussions what we can carry out here. So of course for such permissions, some settings in the network, some settings in the configurations be allowed. So such settings can be carried out through programming itself. No hardware is required for such type of the setting. Only permissions be granted, and those permissions be listed down in the programming, or rather in the setting itself. Let me discuss for the second situation, that is CA certificate. If it is to be renewed, then what provision is there? I can say that there is the first certification authority I can call this as having the old one, which is possessing the old key rather, and there is a certification authority which is possessing the new key. So I just want to switch over from the old key to the new key. So in what way the renewal is carried out? And I want to go for that renewal in a graceful transition from the old signing key pair to the new signing key pair. So in a way that CA should issue a certificate that contains the old public keys, okay, these are listed here, signed by the new private signing key, and a certificate that contains the new public key signed by for the old private signing key. That means these are responsible for the signing for the earlier one. So both these certificates are self-signed. Though there is only one certification authority, these are self-signed. But these are not, so rather I can say that these are self-issued, but these are not self-signed. So another sign is required, and if it is the situation of self-issued and self-signed, then these are not say legitimate certificate we can claim, because earlier we have seen that it is one of the scary type of the issue what can be happened, that such certificates if are issued by the self-signing purpose, these are not legitimate certificate. So here the self-signing is there, but it is not the these are not self-signed, but these are self-issued. Okay, while having a discussion, possibly I may have certain say disturbances while having the thought process, but logically this can be carried out in a proper way with just adjusting the say movement or just exchanges of the keys. Since both certifications, that is the certificate 1 and the certificate 3, which are containing the same public key, which is the certificate 1 and the certificate 3, you can say that these are from the old one, which are containing the same public key, and there are two valid certificate chains for the certificate 5. The certificate 5 you can find out can be reached with the two chains earlier what we have seen. So analogously, the same thing you can carry out for the certificate 6 also, which is for the user 2. So this allows old user certificates such as the certificate 5 and a new certificate, that is the certificate 6, can be trusted indifferently by party having the either new root CA certificate or old one trust anchor. So old one is the trust anchor and the new one is the CS certificate. So by having any of the keys, just such type of the exchanges if are carried out prior to the having some legitimate use of those one, then it can be allowed. So this is another situation what I wanted to discuss with you people. There is another case which is rather very important. So rather I would like to have certain combination of the certificate revocation list and the other technology. Let the technology of the blockchain I want to use along with the CRL. Instead of having some public blockchains, let me discuss for the private blockchains. Those private blockchains may be shared in between the CAs and the vendors, that is the service providers, if are getting connected. So if there are certain multiple CAs are there, certification authorities are there, certificate issuing can be carried out in such a way that okay, there are different chains, those different chains can be bound together in a single chain, and that single chain, obviously it's a private blockchain, can be referred by service provider. So how it is carried out, we can find it out step by step. I can say that certification authority issues a certificate to the requesting service provider. So agreed conditions are there from the certification authority to the service provider, and the certificate can be issued. Let the certificates issued by certification authority, first certification authority, can be given with certain number 1A or even 2A or 3A. For the second certification authority, it may be listed as the 4B, 5B. I have taken in a sequence 1, 2, 3, 4, but I have just bifurcated the second part, that is instead of A, which is the say identification of the first certification authority, I can give here B for the identification of the second certification authority. In a similar manner, C can be given as the identification of the third certification authority. So in a sense that all issued certificates are stored in the private blockchain. The private blockchain, what we have seen here, in a fashion, in any other fashion you can store, you can have your own option to have the storage of such certificates. CA produces a special kind of the certificate asset and releases a token corresponding to the new certificate. So CA is having some token, that token can be used further. All certificates issued by the same certification authority have a certain identification, and SP can register with the private blockchain and acquire a wallet address that is required to communicate with the CA. So some identification is there whenever it is inserted into the blockchain. SP is having connection to the CA through some wallet address. Let the wallet address be generated at the blockchain itself. Fine. CA makes a transaction sending the certificate token to the SP wallet address. So communication is carried out through wallet address itself. The transaction ID can be reused as the reference of the issued certificate. So those IDs are unique and those IDs can be maintained further. So that is the problem of earlier, that is the historical data is not maintained, which was the problem earlier what we faced. That historical data or the previous history can be maintained and that history is attached with the individual ID. So for certificate revocation and the say even any suspension is there, if any renewal is there, that ID is sufficient. So in that way, if we proceed further, that particular CRL and the which are of course stored in the blockchain, some validation can be carried out. So whenever we are having the certification authorities, some blockchains are there, okay. Those blockchains, as we have considered as the private blockchains, if we have certain description that the writing procedure of new CRL into the blockchain can be initiated by any CA. Any CA is having the authority. The initialization of the CA, the initiation by CA creates a stream into the blockchain and all nodes in the network register to that stream. Whatever nodes are there, maybe service providers, maybe certificate carrying entities are there. Only CA are allowed to write into such streams while remaining nodes have read-only accesses. So those CAs can write into the particular list, but other nodes what we can consider or intermediate nodes if are any in the network, these are just enjoying the facility as if it is the read-only facility. All network users, that is the certification authorities, that is the service providers or even clients are there, are able to read the CRL from the public ledger in order to validate the certificate. So there is no any request, so that there is no any response from the CA. That is the problem of having the bottleneck or the traffic jam at the say certificate information issues may not be there. CAs and service providers can save the whole CRL stream locally. Again, the CRL storages are there. There is no separate server can be maintained and no real-time or even offline connection is there. Whatever are the information, whatever is the information rather, is earlier obtained that can be maintained with the local stream and can be made available to the users, and even though those users are not taking the part in the blockchain, and use of the blockchain again gives or can assure some security, some integrity check also for the information which is stored into the nodes. So such type of the information, such type of the logic can be extended further, and we can have here the combination of the recent technology for overcoming what issues we have understood for maintenance or for accessing of your CRL itself. So right now I'll just say that I'll pause here. I may continue further with the next tutorial. So far, if any query, if any discussion, if any suggestion, definitely we can have a talk. Thank you. Thanks.